Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak English Class, your cozy little corner of the internet to learn easy, natural English through real-life conversations. And, hopefully upgrade your life a little bit at the same time. I'm Molly.
And I'm Matt. And today, Molly, I want to start by putting a very honest picture in your mind.
Oh boy. Okay, what kind of picture are we talking about here?
Okay, so imagine you sitting there with your phone in your hand, and you are just opening your banking app,
Ouch, Matt. We are starting so strong today. That is terrifying.
right? But really think about it. When you open that app, what is the very first feeling you get in your body? Like, is it relaxed? Are you curious? Or is it more of a tiny little, oh no?
Oh, for sure. For so many of us, it is definitely closer to, oh no, than, this feels amazing. And, that's actually kind of strange, right? Because a lot of us are educated, we work hard, we are generally responsible adults, but when it comes to our money, we still feel a bit lost.
Exactly. And I felt like that too for a really long time.
Even with your background, because you've studied this stuff.
Completely. Like I could talk about money in theory all day long, but I didn't feel calm with my own money in real life. And that is exactly what we want to talk about today. The difference between, passing an exam and actually understanding your daily life.
Right. And in English, we use this specific phrase for that, financial literacy. Now, I know that sounds like a big, boring university term, but financial literacy really just means understanding how money moves in your daily life and feeling in control of it. It's not just about knowing big, fancy words.
Exactly. And the good news here is you really don't need a finance degree to become financially literate. You just need simple habits, small things that you do over and over again.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder for our listeners, this is a language lesson. We are not giving you some crazy formula to become a millionaire in 30 days. No quick jackpots here. Today is about learning how to talk about a really important everyday topic in English and learning 8 small habits that schools usually forget to teach us.
Yeah, and we're going to do it using English that you can actually use in the real world. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you listening are around a B2 level, which means the language today will be a bit richer, a bit more natural. But don't worry, we'll still speak clearly, repeat the big ideas, and explain the new vocabulary when we use it.
And hey, if you are a strong B1 listener, stay right here with us. Some parts might feel a little challenging, but honestly, that is exactly how your English grows. You can always listen again.
For sure. So before we jump into the first habit, just a really small request. If you enjoy learning English through real, honest topics like this, please take a second to like this episode and subscribe to the channel.
Oh, and we have a little reflection challenge for you down in the comments. We want you to finish this sentence in English. When I open my banking app, I feel.
You can be brutally honest. You can be funny. It is totally okay to say, I feel terrified or I feel confused. By writing that down, you are practicing your English and you're taking that first step to understanding your own habits.
I love that. Okay, Matt, so let's get into your story. You knew the vocabulary for the exams, but you still felt nervous opening your own app. Take us into that moment. What was actually going through your head back then?
So what happened was, I remember it was a Friday. Fresh salary had just hit the account. I opened the app, looked at the screen, and my jaw just hit the ground. I literally thought to myself, wait, how is this number already so low? It honestly felt like someone else had been using my card.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that feeling of who spent all this? Oh, right, it was me, every single time.
Exactly. And the scariest part was I couldn't even tell you where it went. I had a good job, but inside I did not feel financially literate at all. My money story it didn't match my values.
Right, so let's start right there. Habit number 1. If we paused your life right now and I asked you, what really matters to you, what would you say?
I mean, I'd probably say family, health, learning, maybe community.
Okay, and then we compare that list with your last month of spending.
Yeah, and this is where it hurts a little bit, because the world just pushes us to be materialistic without us even noticing.
Ooh, good word. Let's break that down. Materialistic. If someone is materialistic, it means they care way too much about buying things and having stuff rather than caring about experiences or people.
Right. So you tell yourself, my health is my priority. But then your bank statement says your priority is actually fast food delivery, random gadgets, and shopping online at 2 a.m.
Guilty. And a lot of that money is what we call discretionary spending, right?
Yeah, exactly. Discretionary spending is just the money you spend on non-essential things. It's not your rent, it's not basic food. It's those little coffees, the subscriptions you forgot to cancel, that tiny order that shows up every Tuesday.
Right. So the very first habit is simple. Put your money where your values are. Just write down 3 things that really matter to you. Then look at your last month and ask yourself in English, does my spending line up with this at all?
And the best part is you don't have to fix it all in one night. Even just moving a tiny bit of that discretionary spending toward a book or an English course or savings, it already feels completely different.
It really does, because when your money and your values finally start moving in the same direction, you just automatically start to feel more financially literate. Okay, so we've looked at our values, right? But if we only do this once, we're just going to forget about it by next Tuesday.
Oh, 100%. And that is exactly why the second habit isn't about like one massive stressful decision. It's about a tiny monthly ritual.
Right. So how did you make sure you didn't just, close the app and then repeat the exact same mistakes all over again?
So I started doing what I call a money check-in. Once a month, just 30 minutes, my phone is on silent, and it's just me, my numbers, and, well, usually a huge cup of tea.
I love that. So it's like a cute little coffee date with your bank account instead of a horror movie.
Exactly, because before that, I was basically living paycheck to paycheck.
Ooh, let's pause there. Living paycheck to paycheck means that almost all of your salary is just gone right before the next one comes in. There's zero safety net, just stress.
It's the worst feeling. So during this little coffee date, I ask myself 3 really simple questions. Number 1, where did my money actually go this month? And I mean looking at the real statement, not just guessing.
Right. So just looking at reality, but without attacking yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Question 2, did my choices move me closer to my goals or further away? And honestly, that one can sting a bit, but that's where the growth happens. And then third, what is one small focus for the next 30 days? Not 5 goals, just 1.
Okay, give me an example.
Like, I will cook at home 3 times this week, or I'll pay a bit extra so I don't fall behind on bills.
And to fall behind on bills just means you don't pay them on time, and then that debt gets heavier and heavier every month.
Now, this check-in doesn't magically make you rich overnight, but it absolutely stops you from sleepwalking through your finances.
And emotionally, you start to feel like an adult sitting at the table with your money rather than a child hiding from it.
Exactly. But here was my other problem, Molly. Even when I really wanted to be responsible, my brain is just so lazy when it comes to boring tasks.
Oh, I know that brain. It's the brain that says, we'll set up that payment later, and then later literally never comes.
Yes, so that brings us to habit 3. I decided I absolutely cannot trust my own memory. So I put all the boring stuff on autopilot.
Okay, Mr. Matt, give us the details. What does that actually look like?
All right, well, I set up automatic payments for my rent and my fixed bills for the day right after payday, and an automatic transfer to my savings on that exact same day.
Ah, so before you even have a chance to spend it or change your mind.
Exactly. It's on autopilot, which just means it runs by itself. You don't have to control it. You're basically taking care of future you. You're saying, hey, I know you're going to be tired on the 15th, so I'm doing this for you right now.
That is just a really quiet, nice way to respect yourself. I love that.
So now the boring stuff is handled. But what happens when you get a little extra money, like a bonus or a gift? That brings us to habit 4.
Ooh, the extra money. What did that look like for you before you changed?
Honestly, the second I got extra money, it started burning a hole in my pocket.
Ooh, that is such a great English idiom. If money is burning a hole in your pocket, it means you just have this intense, undeniable urge to spend it immediately. Like the money is literally screaming at you, spend me.
Yes, my brain would whisper, well, we worked hard, we deserve a treat, and boom, it was gone on takeout or random stuff online.
Right. So what's the shift there?
The habit became, when I see extra money, I don't only ask what can I buy right now, I force myself to also ask what small part of this can I keep for future me.
So you're shifting your focus from just now to now and later.
Yeah, you stop treating every extra dollar like candy and start treating at least some of it like a seed that grows into stability.
That makes so much sense. But okay, I know there is a massive trap here that so many of our listeners probably fall into. They watch hours of YouTube videos about money, they listen to podcasts like ours, and then literally nothing changes.
Oh man, I feel attacked. That was me for years, and that is exactly why we need Habit 5. I used to be a compulsive money learner.
And compulsive means you do something over and over again, almost like you can't control it, even when you know it's not actually helping you.
Exactly. I'd watch the videos, save the tips, feel super smart, go to sleep, and change absolutely nothing. My brain felt productive, but my bank account was identical.
So, how do you break that cycle?
A new rule. Whenever I learn something new about money, I have to take one small action that exact same day. If I watch a video about bank fees, I open my app right then and see if I can cancel one.
Oh, wow, that's so practical.
Yeah, if I hear about an emergency fund, I move $5 into a savings account right then. Just something tiny. Because financial literacy doesn't grow based on how many videos you watch, it grows based on action.
And you start to trust yourself more, right? Because you're no longer just a passive listener. You're Okay, so we're taking action. We're setting up the systems. But there's this one more area that I feel like a lot of us just completely try to avoid, even when we're genuinely trying to get better with our habits.
Yeah, talking about it. Actually talking about money with other human beings, which, by the way, is exactly what Habit 6 is.
Oh, it's so hard. Why did that feel so incredibly difficult for you at first?
Honestly, I just felt ashamed. I really thought like, okay, everyone else probably has this figured out. I'm the only one who's this confused. So I stayed super quiet about it, even around my closest friends.
I totally get that. And in so many cultures, money is basically a taboo topic. Like you can joke about your dating life, your mistakes, literally anything else, but numbers? Absolutely not.
Exactly. But you know, the more I finally forced myself to actually listen to people, the more I realized that most of us are just scared. We aren't stupid, we're just scared.
Right. So, how did you actually start to break that silence?
I just started having really small, super honest conversations with people I trusted. Not to show off or to compare salaries, but just to learn. Just asking simple things like, hey, how do you plan your budget? Or what app do you use to track stuff?
Yeah, just keeping it super casual. And I guess if you're with a partner, it's really about making sure you're, well, on the same page, right?
Yes, on the same page, which just means you both fully understand the reality of the situation and you agree on the plan.
Exactly. Because when you're on the same page, you fight the problem together instead of fighting each other.
For sure. But, you know, even when we do talk about it openly, there's still this like quiet internal fight, right? Like, I want to enjoy my life now, but I really, really don't want to be stressed out later.
Oh, the classic now versus later tension. That is perfectly leading us into habit 7. What did that inner fight actually sound like in your head?
Okay, so many times if I told myself I couldn't buy something, I instantly felt deprived.
Ooh, let's look at that word, deprived. If you feel deprived, it means you feel like you don't have enough, or like something really important is just missing from your life.
Right, because we live in this world that's constantly screaming at us. If you aren't buying the newest thing, you are missing out. So every single time I said no to myself, it literally felt like a punishment.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, you can look super materialistic on the outside, always buying, always posting your outfits, but still feel deeply deprived on the inside.
Exactly, that is so true. So I had to completely change what the word no meant in my brain. Now when I say no to something today, I'm telling myself I'm actually saying yes to something later.
Ah, like no to a ridiculously expensive dinner out, but yes to not having a panic attack at the end of the month.
Exactly. Before, I used to think I was just being boring or, too frugal.
And frugal just means being really careful with your money, not wasting it. Some people use it like an insult, but it's actually incredibly smart.
Right. Now I look at those frugal moments as acts of self-respect, not punishment.
You're not saying, I don't deserve this. You're saying, I deserve to feel safe later.
Yes, and when you start thinking like that, this whole other question pops up. If I'm saying no to random stuff, what am I actually saying yes to? And for me, the biggest yes became skills.
Which brings us to the final one, habit 8. What does spending on skills look like for you in real life?
So for a really long time, any extra money I had went to things that just looked good, but they didn't change my future. I was totally just trying to keep up with the Joneses without even realizing it.
And keeping up with the Joneses is it's an idiom that basically means trying to buy the exact same lifestyle as your neighbors or your friends, just so you don't feel inferior to them.
Yeah, but then I started using that extra money for like a public speaking workshop, a short video editing course, a book about project management. And the thing is, those skills didn't just disappear after a week.
Right, because they stay in your brain. They're yours forever.
Exactly. They started opening actual doors for me, new jobs, better projects, way more confidence. So instead of trying to impress the Joneses, I finally started keeping promises to my future self.
I love that so much. So now, before you hit buy, you just ask, will this matter to me in 3 years? And if the answer is yes, maybe it's a skill worth paying for.
Yep. And if it's no, then it's just my old habits trying to burn a hole in my pocket again. So I just take a breath, put the phone down, and walk away.
So when you actually step back and look at it, putting all of these habits together, they're really not these massive, dramatic life overhauls, right? They're just tiny choices that you repeat.
Yeah, exactly. It's, taking one honest look at your values, doing one little 30-minute monthly check-in, putting a few boring bills on autopilot, and saying no a few times so you can say yes to some actual skills.
And step by step, money it stops being this big, scary monster hiding under the bed.
Right. You actually start feeling like the main character of your own financial story, which is just an amazing feeling. And, the most beautiful part for everyone listening today is while you're doing all of this, your English is growing right alongside it.
Yes, because you aren't just memorizing random dry vocabulary off a list anymore. You're actually using these words to talk about your real everyday life.
Exactly. So before we completely wrap up today, let's just slow things down for a second and do a really calm, well, kind of a word tour of the phrases we covered today.
I love that. Let's do it. And hey, if you're listening, you can repeat these out loud after us or just sit back and let the meanings kind of sink in.
Okay, let's start with how we actually feel about stuff. The first word was materialistic.
Right. If someone is materialistic, they care way too much about buying things instead of caring about experiences or people. Like, social media can make people feel so much more materialistic.
Next up, deprived. When you feel deprived, it's that heavy feeling that you just don't have enough or that something crucial is missing. Like, even when I bought a ton of stuff, I still felt emotionally deprived.
Ooh, such a good sentence. Okay, what about frugal? This is when you are really careful with your money, not wasting it. Being frugal with small things actually helps you save for the big things.
Exactly. Moving on to habits. We talked about being compulsive.
Yes, doing something over and over, almost completely out of your control. Like, I used to be a compulsive online shopper whenever I felt stressed, which might actually be a true story.
Hey, we've all been there. Okay, then we had that great idiom, burning a hole in your pocket, meaning you just have this intense, burning desire to spend whatever cash you have immediately.
And what are they usually spending it on? Discretionary spending.
Boom. Which is just the extra non-essential stuff. Not your rent, not your basic groceries, just the fun extras.
Okay, let's do the big picture ones. Financial literacy. This is just understanding how money actually works in your real life, not just the math theory.
Yep, and the ultimate goal of that literacy is to stop living paycheck to paycheck, which means your entire salary is completely gone before the next one even arrives.
Right, which is just so stressful. And that usually happens because you fall behind on bills, meaning you just aren't paying them on time, so the debt just gets heavier and heavier.
Exactly. And lastly, dealing with other people. We had keep up with the Joneses.
Trying to buy the exact same lifestyle as your friends or your neighbors just so you don't feel left behind.
And to combat that, especially with a partner, you want to make sure you are on the same page, meaning you both understand the reality and you agree on the plan together.
Okay, wow, that was a lot. But honestly, if you can use even just a couple of these phrases to talk about your own habits, you are absolutely speaking at a strong B2 level.
100%.
And hey, you don't have to memorize all of these right this second. You can always come back, listen to the episode again, let it soak in. But the most important thing isn't just remembering the vocabulary, it's taking one tiny step.
Yes, please. Maybe just sit for 5 minutes with your bank app today, or write down those top 3 priorities we talked about.
And if you want to practice your English right now, go down to the comments and just write one sentence for us. Like, right now my money habit is, or the one change I want to make is.
We genuinely read all of them, and honestly, your comment might just give a little bit of courage to someone else reading who feels the exact same way you do.
Totally. So, be kind to yourself, take it slow. Remember, you aren't behind. You're just starting your next chapter.
Take care of your money, take care of your English, and take care of your peace of mind. I'm Molly.
And I'm Matt. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Speak English Class. We'll see you next time.